and programs detailed in the plan. It stated the collaborative, that steering committee recognizes that increased citizen engagement, all in the context of community policing, was identified as a key area for department improvement from the community input process. In the next 90 days, so from the issuance of this plan, the steering committee will continue to evaluate and develop a structure for robust citizen participation to help advise and shape the priorities addressed in this plan. Can you share what structure for robust citizen participation was developed to ensure that follow through?
I'm not sure that one was. There were members of city council on the steering committee. There were other community members on the steering committee. As I said, I think once the executive order was met, I don't think that there was a lot of robust engagement coming out of that committee. But it's also taken on a lot of different forms. We do community engagement on public safety issues on a monthly basis with the various neighborhood watch groups. We have, constant contact. In fact, I mean, every 2 years when we have either city council, mayor, or elections, this topic is brought up. There's a lot of community input gathered. But from the context of the 2021 executive order that required the collaborations, to me, it was a positive step. There's a lot of good things in there. I think Binghamton's plan is a lot better than some other local agencies. But to me, this is kind of taking it to a little bit different way to approach it. And one that, unlike that plan, involves, some national level experts in community policing.
I think similar to Councilmember Middleton's question, if the efforts weren't pushed forward to, I understand that you weren't mayor at the time, but this exists on our website. Chief Ryan pointed to the reform and reinvention report during budget conversations as things that they consider and include in planning discussions. And I think if we're going to drop funding into another process that represents very similar components, I hear that you're representing buy-in, but we've not seen that demonstration, which is the piece that gives me pause.
I think we have seen buy-in, and that collaborative still exists on the website. Its ideas and intent is still a part of what the police department does. The fact that we've seen expanded community policing, we have established the youth center, we have updated use of force policies, and been, I think, on the cutting edge with those, are all positives. The police department is not something in public safety in Binghamton is not something that can be solved, right? It's not something where, the road is paved and we can go on to something else. It's something we have to constantly be working on. I also think that what we've seen in terms of the crime rates and effectiveness on our strategies means we've been doing a good job too. So this is kind of the next iteration. It's 5 years later, let's say, and is something that I would like the department to continually be thinking about: process improvement, bringing in experts, staying on the cutting edge. A lot of times our officers go to trainings where they're talking to use of force experts or experts on constitutional policing, tactical side of things, other types of training. But very rarely do we have experts kind of come to Binghamton and take a deep dive into operationally and from a policy standpoint, what's working and what we can improve on.
I was going to just say another thing, like I said before, I think that this is a good program and you can have all the trainings. And I think that myself and Councilmember Matavetsky, we spoke with the former chief about like some trainings because some, constituents had some issues, and I'm a strong believer of that's fine. We can have all the trainings, but again, you need a certain plan in order to keep it flowing, to keep it moving. There needs to be certain processes in place in order for there to be an outcome. We can say, all right, we can get a training from the best of the best, which this is from my reading. We can get training from the best of the best. But if we don't have something concrete in place, how will we follow up with the plan that they recommend? So they're going to come back and recommend this should be done, this should be done. Okay, that's fine. How are we going to do that? Do we have the staff to do this? Do we have the leadership? Is leadership okay with recommending that? Even though they say that now, we don't know what is going to be recommended out of this. And that is just kind of my only fear with it. Not this, because I think this is a great idea. This programming, like I said, is the best of the best, but I'm really feeling weary about there not being a plan or anything, any type of structure in place in order to do that. You know, with community policing, you have to bring in people, you have to have uncomfortable conversations, you know, different biases. We all have our way of what we feel, you know, with the police. Like I come from a police background, so my experience might be different from my neighbor's experience. And I don't know, you know, I can't say it's not going to happen, but I don't know if it will happen even after this.
So what I would say is that we have to start with a plan and take stock of where we are. This 21 CP will assist the city on developing that plan of action. And then it is up to myself, the folks around this table, on ensuring implementation of that plan. So just as residents, council, myself, had to decide whether the implementation of the 2021 initiative was sufficient, we will decide implementation of this kind of new phase. And so there will be, I'm sure, things that they will celebrate that BPD is doing great and compared to other agencies our size. There's going to be things where we need to improve, and they will identify ways that we can improve it. And then as part of budget processes, we'll make sure that the resources are there to improve it. If we need to change operations or policy, I will make sure that that happens. But I think what at least my track record has shown as mayor is that I'm willing to take on and look at best practices, specifically regarding community policing, and implement them in a way that benefits residents. And I will continue to do that with this group as well.
Any other questions before we move on to the next RL? Okay, and the last one we have is with you, it's RL 26-41. And wait, we did 41 before 40? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's go back to 40. RL 26-40, a resolution authorizing the agreement with LogoWise for police recruitment services.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So LogoWise has been providing a modicum of support in terms of social media advertising for a very short window leading up to our civil service deadline for police test sign up. I think, as everyone around this table knows, that in order to be hired as a police officer, someone has to first get signed up for the civil service exam, take it, pass a physical agility, go through the academy. So it's quite a long process. Agencies all across the United States have had a difficulty hiring officers. We have seen an uptick in the number of folks who have taken the exam. I think in large part due to our very limited partnership with LogoWise on advertising. Our Join BPD website has been around for some time. They've been doing, I think, very, very good work. But as, again, we look at the next 5-10 years of the department, we really need to supercharge the recruitment that we're doing. Other agencies that are looking at the same pool of applicants are going to be making a hard sell. We have a lot of vacancies. We want to fill those as best we can. And I think if you think about from a marketing standpoint, or what the city spends money on to try to recruit applicants, and the uniqueness of the police application process, I think this is money very, very well spent. Consistently, the police union and rank and file has brought up the need to do more recruiting and outreach as part of the annual process. We're always starting too late. We're always not having enough money. And this will allow us to truly get it to where I think it needs to be from a marketing and promotion standpoint. We've built all of the processes. We have staff on the city side kind of in place. We literally just have to advertise it and get it out to the population that we need.
As far as the staff that are in place, so since the bulk of the scope, if not the whole scope, is focused on these marketing deliverables, my initial questions are related to those current public relations activities, if you don't mind. So we've seen press releases sent out by a few different captains in recent months. Is there a specific officer who is responsible for media communications?
I think the what you're referring to is the detective division media releases that have to do with active criminal investigations. That's handled through the detective division. As far as this initiative, that would not be something that the detective division would be involved in.
Okay, and these are more generally related to current public relations activities. So, somewhat similarly, is there an officer responsible for social media communications, or does that fall within the job description of, I know IT has a website and social media coordinator?
Captain Dan Flanders is the point person on BPD's social media.
And he does the recruitment also, correct?
That's
right?
correct. Yep. He is also the point person. And when we get leads on people who see an ad on Facebook, fill out the Join BPD email and phone number, he's sometimes within minutes calling them or emailing them to talk to them about making sure that they take the test and get signed up and answer any questions that they have.
Go ahead.
I think I just have two more.
Go ahead.
Is the joinbpd.com website included in the 25,000 for hosting fees within IT's budget, or is it a separate expense?
That is a separate expense. The hosting fees and IT's budget, I think, have to do more with server hosting than web page hosting.
Okay. Do you know what that separate expense is for joinbpd.com annually?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
It's got Wix hosting listed as $375.
I'm sorry,
It's got Wix site hosting here for $375.
375?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not significant. So, Mr. Mayor, we're going to end up with some recruitment videos and these short ads. And then in phase 4, we have media buying assistance for linear television, it looks like.
Mhm.
So I feel like the other shoe to drop here is going to be the cost if we actually pursue TV ad buys.
So that would be the TV ad buys would be included in this $36,000 number. So
So I'm reading it as
So
media
yeah.
buying is this whole phase 4 cost is their
yeah,
efforts in phase 4, but not the actual
yeah. So
TV contract, not the
yeah,
actual
so-
air buys.
yes. So basically, we need to first update some of the legacy material that's on there. Some of the photos that are being used as part of recruitment, those individuals are no longer employed by BPD. They've either retired or gone on to different jobs. So we need to update basically the photos and videos that we have with current content and content that fits the marketing. We also need to update the website and continue to enhance that. There will be social media ads. Now it gets to a certain point on social media that you have diminishing returns where, spending $25,000 on social media ads, it would be too much, way too much. And then phase 4 is where possible doing traditional media buys, radio, television, if applicable, other digital ads aside from the social marketing, which has been what we've done in the past is strictly limited, basically Facebook and Instagram marketing.
Did this go out to bid or did we select them from another alternative process?
It did not. They have been a part of the joint BPD and marketing for several years, and we've been excited about what they've done for the process. As some of you know, this is my background in this sort of work, and so I found them to be exceptional, and their work with BPD and what they've been able to deliver thus far on much smaller budgets gives me confidence that they are really the only pick for this type of work.
Can I ask my last current public relations activities question really quick?
Go ahead.
So Binghamton PBA hasn't posted on Facebook since May. Their website's not available. Is it fair to assume they don't contribute to recruitment? I know this is separate. This is BPD. This is recruitment efforts. I get all of that, but in trying to understand all of the players involved in recruitment efforts, is it fair to assume that PBA doesn't have a direct, I should say, just by looking at kind of their current public relations?
Yeah, I think that from a standpoint of the union and their kind of duties and tasks as a benevolent, they themselves spending money to recruit would not be something that any union would I think engage in. Really, that is the city's responsibility and our collective responsibility.
Anything else?
Final clarifying question. So the RL doesn't mention retention. So in reading this as a recruitment strategy, I assumed that it would mention retention. But if I'm understanding you correctly, there's no intention with this of addressing retention in the strategy. It's entirely intended for this time frame leading up to the application process.
That's correct. This is to get as many people as possible to sign up for and take the civil service exam, making them eligible to be hired as a police officer.
Couldn't we do that just with Officer Flanders? Couldn't he just do that? Or this is like this would be a larger scale? Because one of the last things it says that there'll be one person that's like a one person that they'll contact within the company to ensure line process. We just couldn't one of the people in the office just do this, like, because it doesn't, I mean.
Well, Captain Flanders would serve as that, but the services that are being provided are not something that we have the expertise to do in-house.
Who are we targeting? Like, targeting, is it going to be local, national? Like, what's the target?
So broadly speaking, the eligibility for police officers are that you have to be to sign up to take the civil service test, and feel free to verify this because I'm going off of memory here, is that you have to, at the time of application, live in either Broome County or an adjoining county to Broome. And at the date of appointment, you have to be a bona fide resident of Broome. There are certain age requirements that I don't know off the top of my head, the state just extended them. The other thing too is as it relates to advertising for employment, there are also state and federal laws that Facebook and the social media companies are very attuned to, that you have to really, not unlike their requirements for political ads, that you have to follow certain rules to advertise employment. So that would be the target. It's anyone who is eligible under those employment guidelines that civil service sets.
And locally, kind of, in that sort of. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And so to what extent the ad spend is based in Broome County versus the surrounding counties, I think that's more of a technical question, but mostly it will be to Broome County residents within the age ranges that are eligible to apply.
Just for reference, do you know when this effort was kind of undertaken last, when the last round of promotional videos and stuff was made? How old is this stuff we're dealing with currently?
So that again, when
when was the last time we made a set of this stuff as far as the videos and stuff and the
Oh,
photos and things?
joinbpd.com, maybe not quite 10 years.
All right, so a while.
It was well, to the extent that, again, if you look at the website and some of the images, there are many of those folks are retired or no longer work here.
Okay.
Yeah, even in the photo, I think like the photo that they have that they use, those people don't, the cops aren't there. I think like one of the cops, it's not
Mhm.
for work here anymore.
I think one of them, there's no body camera, which tells you it's pretty old.
Yeah.
Bouncing back to 2641 for a second. Is there I think the point being made about we had a process that we went through, and yes, it was state mandated, but there was a process. We had documents and goals that came out of that. And I think it's always good to keep what the work that has already been done in mind. And Mr. Mayor, your point is also well taken in that, all right, time to update that, time to get a new plan, time to take this opportunity to have literally national experts come in and work with us and chat with us and stuff. Is there colleagues, is there an ask we want to make or can make to respect what has happened and make sure we're making that, part of this process of looking at where we're at and where we need to go? And this is maybe just a thought, but I'm just trying to keep things moving. And I know we're missing folks tonight that might also have input, but
One of the other things too is that, I connected city council with a managing partner from 21CP. They have worked extensively in cities probably that have gone through, exactly where Binghamton is that, hey, 5-6 years ago, it was an all hands on deck approach to policing and what our policies are and what changes need to be made. And, how has cities that have gone through that process, probably even, larger cities in Binghamton, exactly face that, where look, we're not throwing out the work that's been done before, but we're improving on it. One of the things that was looked at as part of the that collaborative was stop data and use of force data from the Finn Institute. So we had some expertise involved in that, but the focus was not on what our community policing statistics are. One of the things that we didn't have back then is this foot and bike patrol program in neighborhood streets and all of the data that's been collected there. The more of the focus on hotspot policing. I believe the Southern Tier Crime Analysis Center was not fully operational the last time that report was done. So there's been a lot of changes in policing. We have a new police chief since that collaborative happened. So just wanted to put that out there that the gentleman that I connected council with may be able to answer some of those questions.
I had
we want to make sure we set up that call.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think that would be, our best next step, whether we do it. I know that Councilmember Matavetsky, Councilmember Hotchkiss also had feedback they wanted included in discussion. So if
Mhm.
we can move it to a committee conversation so that
Absolutely.
the public can weigh in as well, that probably gives us the best opportunity to
To
represent
move
the
forward
RO.
to also with it. That's fine. I had another question, but I'll wait. We'll wait for committee because we have people waiting here.
What's the timeline on both the PR stuff and the 21CP,
Well,
other than get it done last week?
of course. Look, I think that the recruitment stuff, there's heavy timeliness because some of this stuff will take time to ramp up. And when the civil service gives us a date, that is a hard deadline that we don't have wiggle room for. So that really is a critical piece to have as quickly as possible.
Do you
And-
have data on what we spent on the last 5 years on recruitment? Like how much we spent?
I would say it's in the few thousands of dollars in terms of paid ads. We have put money behind it, but it's probably about a tenth of what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
So that's kind of the timeline. And then certainly if council wants to schedule a committee meeting in the next week or so, or have separate conversations with the managing partner, they're all on board and can do that. But again, I think that it is going to take time for them to start up the process. And I think that it's an important piece. And with the new leadership at BPD and with, not just a new chief, assistant chief, but also some, more top brass being appointed, it's kind of a critical time for the department. And I want everyone involved to have this methodology at the top of mind and hear from the national experts what really works and how we should be shaping our department.
Absolutely. And I think maybe at the committee meeting, if we could have as many people, that stated, I think, like I said, my only reserve is not voting for this, just what's going to happen in the outcome. So that's my only reserve on that, on this. Like, I think it's a good idea. I think this is great, but I am worried about what the outcome would be on this. The follow-up, excuse me. Does anybody have any other questions?
Nope.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for
Thank
your
you.
time. I hope you have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We are going to move on to, we have an RL from Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Board. This was not originally scheduled for discussion, but Doug Jensen is here tonight to present. And I'd like to invite Doug down to discuss RL 26-60. And it's in the Finance Committee with Chair Kavanaugh. So can you introduce RL 26-60? Does he have, you have it?
Okay. Hello. All right, so we are amending the 2025 budget still for local system cost and decreasing a bunch of other things. All right, one of you walk us through this because I just saw it like 2 hours ago, so I haven't had a time to ask questions privately.
Okay, I don't know if you guys have met Doug Jensen.
I don't think
This
we
is
have
My
yet.
first time.
This is
Welcome.
his first time here, so.
And what's
Thank
your, oh, you're the new business manager.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Hi,
Mhm.
welcome.
Thank you very
and are
much.
you, where'd you come from?
I came from Broome County. Was
Oh,
at the
okay.
Airport.
Hey, we poached from Broome County.
Doesn't
Sorry.
happen very often.
Welcome.
Basically, this is mostly for me. The reason why is because local system costs went up for the city of Binghamton in our sewer department, which increased, basically, as you know, health insurance went up, electricity costs went up, and we had extra capital expenditures in the sewer capital lines due to the fact that ARPA funds were running out. So portions of those funds get to be allocated to the sewer plant as long as they work on sanitary sewers or CSOs that lead to the plant. So with that being said, it's a very convoluted spreadsheet that we do for final billing. And the increased costs went over the budget that I estimated that our local system costs for the sewer fund would be in their budget last year. So this is why the need for this budget amendment for $370,000.
Okay, so we've got the Johnson, all right, never mind, sorry, the Johnson City request RL is here too, but it says 2026 in one spot, that means 2025, but that's not ours, so it doesn't matter. All right, so to simplify this, or to let me just make sure I've got it straight,
Okay.
right? So our water department, or the sewer department, I'm sorry, the sewer side of our sewer and water department does work on parts of the system that are considered part of the sewer plant
That
system.
go to the plant, yes.
Right, okay. So we're billing the sewer plant essentially for that work. And they're
Yes.
reimbursing us.
Yes, we put our local system costs in their budget. And then at the end of the year, we do a reconciliation. And if it's over, we have to do this. If it's under, we're fine. And then the whole thing washes out in a final bill. And then that's when we either get a refund from the plant or we pay them a little bit more. Usually it's a refund.
Okay. And obviously the lines you're transferring from in the sewer budget are, you've got money there to start at the end of the year as far as,
Yes, they usually have extra money in their personal services lines. Just due to the fact that they need to budget because they have people coming and going all the time.
all right. Thank you for explaining. Any other questions? That's it? All right. Doug, good to meet
Okay.
you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Next up in the finance, Finance Committee Chair Kavanaugh will introduce RL 26-38.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere yet, CR. All right, Pablo Escamilla is here, I believe, to,
With Pablo.
Good evening.
good evening. So. Part of this is straightforward in that we all are well aware of the cost of electricity going up. We've helped deal with it across the city, as residents are constantly dealing with, of course, all over the state. So those are explainable. I do hope you shut the lights off when you leave your office and stuff, but understandable. What is more worrying and not so understandable is the management services section of this. There's $490,000 approximately that is paid, kind of split out and paid ramp by ramp and by lot for management services. And you've managed to blow through that, and there's an $88,000-ish overage. That is a lot. Why?
Yeah. So obviously, as you well know, the management services fee is not just a fee to just the managing services. As it
I
comes
do
to
understand
healthcare, increasing healthcare costs, increasing wages cost. We're very well tied into minimum wage increases. So when that
But that was predictable. We knew what minimum wage was going to go to in 2025.
we did, but some of that wasn't accounted for. So we have that, and then we had some unexpected repairs with the State Street cash boxes, and then we also had it at Holly. Our locks for the pay on foots broke. We had to replace those. So there were added expenses that were unforeseen that weren't in our services line. So in our equipment repair line.
Some of the repairs that aren't in the normal repair line. They go through their management services line.
Right.
I don't love that. That seems.
Well, it's unforeseen, so
me-
that we can't really budget for something we don't know it's going to break or need repair. We assume most of the equipment's going to work properly majority of the time.
No, I don't know if that's enough of an explanation for. We need a 20% overage in management. Yeah,
I can also tell you that it was a relatively tight budget due to the fact that we didn't know what the costs were actually going to be at Holly Street. I'm sorry, at Water Street. A lot of the expenses in the first year were estimated. And they might have been estimated a little low just in the Water Street. And I know Collier Street does get a lot of, has a lot of personnel charges due to the fact that they have to keep the surface lot clean. And they charge all their maintenance costs for that to the Collier Street. And with the snow and everything, that goes
Yeah,
there too.
We handle all the snow removal for that lot also and for State and Holly.
Can you run me a more detailed breakdown of the overage? Somehow?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. Yeah. We can get an analysis for each of those accounts.
I appreciate that.
Do you foresee this happening in the future? Like another mismanagement like this, like where the budget is,
You mean the short budget?
yeah.
I can tell you that this budget was tight this year too, but
It's going to be
Water
topsy-turvy now with
Yeah.
Henry.
with State Street,
State Street.
right?
Yeah.
The shifting of revenues and everything. Yeah, it's all going to be a little different. But we're hopeful that, if we can get State Street, at least a surface lot there, it could help out.
Just to clarify the short answer to whether or not we should anticipate this happening again is yes, it's likely because the budget was tight
Tight.
again this year.
For this year as well.
And we're
Yes.
swapping presumably what was previous work that's represented in the overages for work that's going to need to be pursued this year at a different location.
Right. And basically, we did have basically got about a week's worth of expenses at State Street in this year, which we didn't budget for at all. There's zero budget in any State Street lines. So we had to put that somewhere. So I think we put that, you don't know this, but yeah, we put that to the Water Street because that's where most of the parkers went. So like electricity, some maintenance before they shut it down on January 6th. 5th.
So it was put in the Water Street lines, but we can anticipate that it'll come out for State Street.
No, State Street doesn't have a budget for 2026. So those 5 days are in Water Street lines. So we might have to do a budget amendment for Water Street at the end of this year. We were anticipating that State Street would be closed by the end of the year. That's why we didn't budget for it during budget season.
Can I just include a note in hopes that any one of us remember this come this year's budget season? I do agree with Councilmember Kavanaugh in it not being clear what's included in management services. So it'd be helpful to know I think most of us went straight to what in the world. And so it's helpful to understand there's more to it, but it would be more helpful during budget conversations to have it detailed out. I mean, I'll try to take that note too, because we're several months away from that conversation, but I agree with Councilmember Kavanaugh that it is necessary.
I see that, do you have any other questions, anybody? No?
I mean, we're going to have, hopefully, put some feedback into the parking study. Hopefully we're going to have some results from the parking study coming out soon. And I think there's going to be some sort of comprehensive revisitation and of parking in downtown. We're going to have a new surface lot to deal with. I'm not thrilled with how Collier Street runs now, having so much staff versus machines at other places. So I think we need, it's going to be a project. That's all.
Yeah. Most definitely. I think this is up for expedition, but due to lack of quorum, Council President Dundon will consider the RL 26-38 for placement on Wednesday's business meeting agenda. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening. So, on to the next RL. Unfortunately, the two other members of Public Works are absent this evening. So I will introduce RL 26-50. It is with City Engineer Ron Lake. Come on down. You're the next contestant. Don't rush though. Don't rush, Ron. Don't rush. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So this is, again, is RL 26-50, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Colliers Engineering for the Memorial Bridge design. So can you give us a summary of the legislation?
If you would entertain a minute to take the next one first,
Okay,
it would help us.
okay, sure. So you can stay right there. We will go on to RL 26-51, a resolution authorizing an agreement with the New York State DOT for Memorial Bridge deck replacement and streetscape design. Can you give us a summary on that one?
Yes, the reason I wanted to move this forward is because they're funding the next one,
Okay,
the Colliers one.
okay,
So this is to redo the Memorial Bridge and give it a road diet and make it something that city can be proud of. And it's already in process with DOT. And this is the agreement with DOT allowing the mayor to sign it. And if you go to like the third page from the back, if you
Mhm.
can, there's a little chart that looks like this. It has dollars on it. Anyway, it tells us what the costs are. And the federal share is 457,600.
Mhm.
State cost is 85,800. And then our local cost is only 28,600. So out of a 572,000, we only pay 28,000 to get this done. And this is for the preliminary design.
Memorial Bridge. Where is it? Memorial Bridge. Where is the Memorial Bridge?
Riverside
Riverside
Drive.
Drive, the North Shore Drive.
I never knew, never knew that. I don't know why. Just drive it every
Riverside
morning.
Drive over the Shenango.
So this,
We spoke-
city started down this road before, correct?
we
Several
have.
years ago with Memorial Bridge redesign and reconstruction.
Mhm,
Yes, we authorized an agreement with Colliers,
mhm.
I think a year ago, maybe a
Yeah.
little longer, for this work. And we just did the first phase with them. This is the second phase of that work. And then there'll probably be a third phase for the final designs.
And
So
in
this
here,
is-
so this is design. In here, the anticipated actual construction cost is about $5.8 million, which I'm sure is going to balloon before we actually undertake it. So what's in the pipeline for the actual funding of the construction?
the same, it'll be the same pipeline. It'll come through federal and DOT.
And,
Yeah, the whole project has been authorized.
okay, all right, I see. All right. Okay.
I'm sorry, so authorized and then the funding for the first.
Right, we went to BMTS and
Mhm.
got on their list. And then we get reimbursed by DOT in New York State.
Okay, which is the reference to the breakdown in 2651.
Yes.
Okay.
So through the funding from DOT and the state, we can then have our contract with Colliers, which only cost us 28,000 for the 500.
So the bridge was built in the 30s. It got a complete reconstruction in the 70s, then again in 2002, and now we're doing it in 2026. We
Well,
seem to be getting less and less time out of it.
but we're only doing the surface this time.
Okay,
This will just be the surface and make way for bicycle lanes and that type of thing that are needed in the city.
And then those are, part of this is actually coming up with those design alternatives, correct? Whether we go
Colliers, yes.
3 lanes or 2 lanes or keep it 4 lanes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It'll probably be 3 with some pedestrian and bicycle lanes.
I'm sorry to revisit Councilmember Kavanaugh's question about the 5.8 million total project cost. Just to make sure I'm understanding, we can expect a similar 80%
It-
breakdown for
It's
reimbursement of that.
it's
total cost.
budgeted for 2028, I believe. This was budgeted for 2027. But some other project didn't go. So BMTS asked us to go ahead with this one. And moved it up a year.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been here this year for it.
So is it possible construction will also move up?
I'm hoping.
Okay. And did this go out for RFP or not? Or is there a reason we stick with Colliers
No, because this is just amendment to the.
to the original from the,
We
okay,
did the RFP. when
before
we
the
started.
phase,
Yes,
whatever, okay,
yes.
the initial phase, right? All right. Any other questions?
Okay. Think we have one more with you?
Well,
No.
no, we just, the other one got scratched,
Okay, yeah, all right,
but then I'm gonna take Juliet's place.
okay. Do you want, is Shane here? Is someone here for Shane?
What?
Okay, so
We have.
you're gonna
Shane-
take Juliet's place?
I am.
All right, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on from RL 26-59. Megan, are you presenting for Shane or no? Oh, Chris is? Okay, do you mind if we just go through these first, Chris? Or, okay, we'll just do these really quick. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna just move the agenda around to RL 26-54. And that is in the planning committee with planning chair, RL 26-54. And it's in the planning committee with Chair Rathmel. Can you please introduce that? We'll now introduce it. Thank you.
Sure. So this is RL 26-54, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement and accept $50,000 from New York State's DEC NSP planning grant. It does go directly with RL 26-55. And
56.
Yeah,
56.
they're all
So
together.
they gave you more work the night before you're
Yes,
out. So
Now I'm confused.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
there's 50, yeah, 54, 55, and 56.
Oh, that's, okay.
They're,
Yeah,
thanks for representing, Ron.
Thank
Take it
you.
away.
they're very much related and they all have to do with Chamberlain Creek. And Southern Tier 8 submitted for grants for us to do some engineering study. And that's where these 3 items came out. So that we have been looking and we have a property where a structure is about ready to fall into Chamberlain Creek and since that part of the creek is owned by the city, we need to do something about it. So you gave me in my budget this year some money to do some work on Chamberlain Creek. But also there's other spots that need work. And these 3 items will cover that. One is for a green infrastructure at Calvin Coolidge School, if we can do some planning there. And then we have, there's 6 crossings on that creek that one of the grants will cover the study on how we take care of them. And then the last one was, stream bank stabilization. So those 3 items with a $50,000 grant, I'm trying to work with Soil and Water and Tioga County Stream Team because they'll do a better job for me than going out and getting consultant. And I used to stamp all their designs in my past life. So they really do a good job. And if I can work it, I'll have them do the studies for us and we'll get more for our money. Any questions?
No.
It's a good grant. We'll make use of it.
All right, 54, 55, 56.
I do have a question. I'm just making sure that it's not already identified in the. Okay, so Chamberlain Creek at large, is there an exact, so planning looking specifically at street to street kind of topography? Just Chamberlain's Creek.
Just Chamberlain Creek.
Okay. Okay. We have green infrastructure, crossing improvements,
Remove.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
crossings would be,
and
the crossing improvement.
stream
would
bank
be- would be
stabilization.
culverts.
so the three components of
Yeah, each one
this
has its own,
piece.
yes, each one
Okay.
has its own grant.
Thank you. Okay.
I've been trying to get that for years.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Thank you so much. I hope you have a good evening. So,
Yeah,
look,
get well soon.
that's because you're leaving. Okay, thank you. We're going to, this next one, RL 26-59 is in the Finance Committee with Chair Kavanaugh. Can you please introduce, our RL 26-59? Go right ahead
Madam?
with Chris Strand. Sorry, Chris.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Did we skip over the Ross Park Carousel?
Yeah,
Rest?
it's removed. Did you not hear me when I
I
said
did
that?
not.
I
Thank
am
you.
so sorry.
That
Yeah.
was withdrawn by the engineer.
Yeah, it has been removed. I'm sorry. Don't kill me. Okay. You can go. Chair Kavanaugh.
Okay. Hello.
Hello,
So we have Chris Strand from, I never remember the name of the company,
Troon Golf.
Troon Golf. I don't know why I can't
Used to be
remember that.
Indigo.
Okay. All right, so you've got some overages we need to cover. And why don't you walk us through them and how we're looking at the golf course
Sure.
after what was supposed to be a record-breaking year?
It was a record-breaking year. I mean, the year of the golf course was actually really good. I mean, we did about 1,100 more rounds than previous year. First time ever we crossed over $1 million in total revenues. So definitely kept making some strides in the right direction. But we didn't quite get to the budget we were shooting for on the revenues. Most of all that miss was all in golf. If you take greens fees and cart fees, that's about 150,000. We did make up some of that extra revenues in food and beverage and pro shop sales. But if those extra, let's call it 68,000, do have COGS involved in that. So I know that's the pro shop merch and food and beverage lines for about 43. So I look at we missed 80 in rev is what I know it shows on your sheet, but I look at we really missed by 124 because you got to take the COGS out of that. And so all the misses on the golf side. And that was really to try to have a balanced budget, overall. And we didn't quite get to the overall APRs that we were hoping for on the golf side. Overall expenses were actually relatively in line to our budget, other than I know.
So if we
Yeah, go ahead.
had a record-breaking year, you couldn't have asked for better, what was off in our projections
When we,
in revenue?
yeah, I'm sorry. When we budgeted, we budget for a balanced budget. We didn't do an interfund transfer from the general fund. So in order to meet the balanced budget, me, increased his green fees by I don't know what the percentage was to match our budget. Because we have other expenses in there. We have a band payment
Yeah,
that he doesn't budget for, which is about $40,000. And in the past years, we've usually done an interfund transfer from the general fund, but we did not do one this year or last year. So in order to balance his budget, we increased his green fees by, I think it was about $40,000.
which we're not, which was a balance, a
It
budget
balanced the
balancing
budget, but-
mechanism, but
And
not
which would have been,
tied to actual anticipated
which
green
would have
fees.
been, yeah, rainbow prayers.
And it was a tough weather year in golf. I mean, the Northeast, I would actually say, the spring was horrible. The first half of the year was really bad, and then fall fell off a lot faster. Really, only third quarter was only a good part of the year for all of my golf courses throughout the Northeast. So, truthfully, like getting to those numbers this year in a tough weather year was really great strides, because a lot of our courses missed by much more than that. So, that's why I say there's still a lot of positive momentum around Ely Park and growth, which has been great to see.
So again, just with the budget lines, these are not necessarily broken down enough to give a real sense of what some of the overages and expenses are. So it's like general and admin expenses for $50,000 is what were the components there? Is it
That was a lot of electricity.
G&A is
G-
a lot of all the utilities and stuff. So that's a lot of the electricity, which is a big piece of that.
And they also use Marabito gas also.
so seems like we're still at the golf course costs us a good $100,000 a year.
Currently, yes. I know we talked about it when we did the budget. This is the last year we have that big maintenance lease at $97,000.
Yes.
So we're hoping we can make a dent into that this year and then hope, from 27 on beyond, that falls off and we'll be in a much better state to be at that break even level.
And then we're making some investments in the kitchen and stuff up there. Are we hoping, are we
Yes, all that's
guarantee me
moving.
some increased food and beverage revenue?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot more attention into that this year. We're finishing off underneath the deck in the picnic tables to help with more events. Now some of that revenue is you're selling it this year really more for 27, right? Because you kind of have to build that business and have that in place so you can most outings, banquets, probably already booked for 26 for the most part, right? So it's kind of a building mechanism for next year. But certainly, we have a new manager there this year who has actually a more F&B background, food and beverage background. So I think there'll be a lot more push into that level this year, which would be great. And then we're raising some rates and things across the board, as you know. So I think there's plenty of opportunity to make a big dent into that with, the goal all along has been we got to get to 27. And then I think we'll be in a really good spot.
Any other questions for
No,
Chris? All right.
well, thank you guys.
Thanks for coming in.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Now we're going to go back to you, Chair Kavanaugh, Finance Chair Kavanaugh, for RL 26-58.
All right. General fund over budget items. Take it away, Chuck.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
The main one here is probably health insurance, the largest expense on there. Okay. And that's basically due to our health insurance went up this year more than the national rate. The national rate was between 7 and 8%, and we usually budgeted about 10, and it went up 20. So basically, our stop loss held it down a little bit. We're basically about $100,000 over, but the extra $400,000 is for accruals because most of our bills don't come in until the end of March, through the end of March, and we have to book those back on dates of service. So if the dates of service, doctor bills are they're very slow. So the date of service is in November or December, and we get the bill from Excelis in, say, February or March. We have to book that back to last year. So I'm just anticipating about $400,000 of accruals, and that's usually what we do every year. But we usually have the budget for it. This year we had several outliers in individuals who had over $1 million in prescriptions. So those hit pretty hard. And if those are maintenance prescriptions, they'll keep going for years. They could.
And we discussed you making some adjustments to our like catastrophic stop loss and stuff too.
Yes, I did adjust our stop loss this year, increased it. We pay a little bit more for it, obviously, in the administration fees and the bill itself, but overall, it should save us a little extra money.
And this is being offset by sales tax revenue, which we're
Yes.
fortunately have.
Yes, sales tax came in almost $1 million over. And we still only budgeted basically a 4% increase from last year. So sales tax in Broome County overall is doing very well, according to the county. So so whatever people are buying here is good.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening, Chuck. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We are on our last RL, in the planning committee with Chair Rathmel. Can you introduce RL 26-52?
Sure, thank you. This is RL 2652, an ordinance to amend Chapter 265, Housing and Property Maintenance. The summary is an amendment to update how notices of violations are served to issues to match the New York State Uniform Property Maintenance Code. And our presenter is Corp Counsel Bob Hearing.
So there's two pieces to the amendments. One piece is updating how we mail these out on paper. So in practice, we've sent certified NOVs for a while. That's how the New York State Uniform Property Maintenance Code has it set up. Our code says that we can send it by first class mail, but that's just not how we do it. So part of this change is to kind of match what our code says to what our actual practice is and bring it into alignment with the Uniform Property Maintenance Code. The other piece is cleaning up the language in our notice provision, so it's more clear on how this is supposed to work. Basically, we have two ways of notifying people. One way is to notify them via personal service. The other way is via certified mail. So the changes are designed to set out specifically like how you notify people of certified mailing, i.e. which addresses you send it to notify different parties that might be involved in a property maintenance matter. One of those being the owner, one of those being the registered property manager, and the final one being the occupant of the property.
So I'll just note there I received feedback from a community member familiar with property maintenance code, most of which I've not had a chance to fully review and will forward because I don't think it's easily summarized. But I think the question that I can ask is whether the city's process or your process is to contact the New York State Department of State code divisions whenever there's an amendment to one or more of the local ordinances that incorporate uniform code.
So there's, I don't know if, I think it was last January, we passed the updated uniform code incorporation provision that the state required, and like that gets shared with the state. In terms of like the local ordinances, I don't think those have typically been forwarded because it's more of a local thing versus the uniform administration. So there's two, there's the local ordinance that falls under chapter 265 where we can cite for local code violations. And then there's the uniform property maintenance code that's promulgated underneath the New York State executive law that we can also cite through our code enforcement process. And they're just different options for citing stuff. And
So-
there's slight
okay.
variations between them.
So that more restrictive local law provision doesn't necessarily require the contact,
I don't know.
if I'm understanding you.
I don't know that it would be required to forward it to the Department of State, and I'm not sure what they do with it, but I can look into it.
I'll send you the bulk of the feedback. It sounds like there's a potential recommendation in the feedback that more as a courtesy, not as a requirement.
Sure.
But I will forward you there's some aspects here relative to technicalities between notice of violation and what is being referenced. And again, not easily summarized. So I'll forward. That's all I have.
Does anybody else have anything else? I'll second. All in favor? Oh, okay, we are all dismissed.